Hi, I'm Dr. Kurt Woeller. The title of this Autism Biomed Essentials video is What are the four pillars of biomedical intervention for autism? So this video is sponsored by Autism Recovery System. Autism Recovery System is a comprehensive educational website with regards to biomedical intervention for autism. For more information, you can go to autismrecoverysystem.com or you can email us at autismrecoverysystem@gmail.com. Now, within the Autism Recovery System, there are various sections. There's videos, articles, as well as a member forum where you as a parent or caregiver can post questions to me regarding biomedical intervention through that forum. There's also a comprehensive 6-module autism biomedical course called Autism Biomed Essentials. Here's our disclaimer regarding the content within this video, that this is for educational purposes only. So when we think of biomedical intervention, sometimes this is called integrative medicine for autism, but mostly biomedical intervention for autism. And the principles that apply, in this concept also can apply to, other children with special needs or teenagers and adults as well. So that could be somebody with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, pervasive developmental delay, sensory processing disorders, for example. So many years ago, I developed an outline or an approach to biomedical intervention called the 4 pillars. And the 4 pillars still really hold true today from a foundational standpoint. And that has to do with the fact that there's a lot of things that can be done to help with individuals on the autism spectrum, but dietary intervention is incredibly important. And so that is a major pillar, that we have to have a healthy diet in order to help provide the nutrients for the body, as well as taking away foods that could be toxic or problematic. Foundational supplements are also important. We know that many individuals on the autism spectrum are often deficient in certain nutrients, and then many of them have digestive system problems. So the third pillar, as far as my 4-pillar approach, is understanding the toxic nature of many intestinal pathogens, bacterial plus fungal problems. Those need to be addressed. And then finally, methylation. Now, methylation is a huge category, very complicated biochemical system, but from a general pillar standpoint, we know that we can intervene with certain things like methyl B12 or DMG or TMG, which are different types of supplements. But we can't get, great results just by doing methylation support unless we have other things in place. So that would be dietary intervention, foundational supplements, digestive system interventions as well. So all of these things work together. Now there's the other intervention box that carries a lot of things: hyperbaric, antiviral therapy, heavy metal detox, mycotoxin, mold interventions, these types of things. And it's not that these can't be done, but generally it's best if we have the 4 pillars in place first, and understand too that the 4-pillar approach, we're constantly coming back to these, right? So it's not like we're doing dietary intervention, then stopping, and then starting supplements and then stopping. These things are layered on top of each other, and they have a synergistic effect, so that when you move into the realm of these other interventions, these things have a better chance of working. So we know that brain region dysfunction in autism is well known, looking at hippocampus, temporal lobe issues, amygdala, cerebellum, frontal lobe. So all of these things can be linked to planning function problems, memory and learning issues, auditory processing, speech language delay, emotional control problems. And then the cerebellum is very much involved in motor control, and as well as allowing an individual to shift from one task to another. So our first pillar is dietary intervention. And we can't get away from a healthy diet. And there's not one autism diet that works for everybody. So it's really a spectrum sometimes of different dietary options that have to be implemented. A gluten casein free diet is usually foundational, sometimes a specific carbohydrate diet. But again, there's not one diet that's going to be 100% helpful for everybody. But what we do know is that improving the quality of food, getting rid of toxic food, reducing chemical exposure, these types of things help universally. Now, a study from many, many years ago, back in 2000, this was an interesting study where they actually looked at individuals with autism as well as schizophrenia, and they tied food reactions to IgG antibodies, which had to do with blood testing for food sensitivity, as well as what was called peptides. These are small protein fragments found in gluten and casein, for example. And this is where part of the gluten casein-free diet concept came from. And what they found was when they removed the gluten and casein from individuals with autism, there was a significant improvement in their overall condition. And that would usually be eye contact, language, behaviors, etc. And there's a lot of biochemistry involved in this, but fundamentally, what happens with some of these peptides is they carry or they appear to the body or the brain as though they're some type of opiate chemical. Okay, these things can cross through the lining of the gut. They can also cross the blood-brain barrier and interact with opiate receptors in the brain. And this is why you will see some individuals on the autism spectrum who are almost addicted to dairy and wheat. And when you take them off those foods, sometimes they can become quite agitated. But you can also get tremendous improvement in their cognitive abilities because you're now removing essentially a toxin that is irritating to their nervous system. Foundational supplements have always been a key of my biomedical intervention programs because it's been well known that because of dietary restrictions and other sensitivities, autistic individuals are often deficient in many nutrients. And this was a paper that was just looking at that, confirming what we've known for years, that nutrient deficits will impact biochemistry throughout the body, but particularly with regards to neurotransmitters, detoxification pathways, and methylation chemistry, which also includes glutathione that is important from a detoxification and antioxidant standpoint. So what they highlighted was that nutrient deficiencies can lead to increased oxidative stress, can lead to energy transport problems, can compromise mitochondrial function, can compromise the ability to detox. So again, this gets back to the heart of foundational supplementation. And foundational supplementation is going to include multivitamin, mineral, antioxidants, essential fats, probiotics sometimes, other nutrients like vitamin C or magnesium. So there's a host of these things that are often helpful. This was another important paper, came out in 2018. And this particular paper, they were looking at nutritional and dietary intervention for autism spectrum individuals over a 12-month period of time. And what they found was that there was a significant improvement in the nonverbal intellectual ability in individuals who received good nutrition. And overall, it was not just the supplements, but dietary intervention, which means too that we're removing certain foods that are problematic. So for example, that could also be dairy or gluten or other types of food sensitivities. But fundamentally, what they incorporated was, again, essential fatty acids, B vitamins, antioxidants, CoQ10, B12, nutrients that really all of us need for a healthy system and a healthy brain and nervous system. Okay, and so there's a lot of papers out there that discuss this. This is well-known information. This isn't controversial or shouldn't be anymore. And fundamentally, this is a major part and has been a major part of my four-pillar approach now for many, many years. It, almost been in practice, well, actually well over 25 years now. So when we take it back to the brain region and dysfunction in autism, another thing that tends to create problems in these individuals is imbalances within the digestive tract. And this brings us to the gut-brain connection. Understanding that imbalances of the microbiome, which would make up the bacterial and fungal organisms of the gut, often can have negative consequences on behavior. So what you're seeing here is an image of an organic acids test. This comes from a company called Mosaic Diagnostics. It used to be Great Plains Laboratory. And many of these markers that we see elevated, like 2, 4, 5, and 6, are related to mold exposure and colonization within the body. This marker here, called arabinose, is actually linked to candida. And so these toxins can have a tremendous impact on cognitive ability as well as behavior. When we start to look at some of the chemistry, it's known that in the world of biology and microbiology, that yeast, for example, will take glucose and convert it into ethanol. So a lot of the alcohol type of behavior, the goofiness, the giddiness, the silliness, can come about because of an excess overgrowth of candida within the digestive tract. There's another compound that can be produced called acetaldehyde. Now, it's not something that's testable through a lab test, but at least commercially in that we're using. But acetaldehyde is a known toxin of alcohol metabolism. And acetaldehyde, because of the chemical structure of aldehydes, has its own issue with toxicity. It tends to generate a lot of what's called oxygen radicals, causing oxidative stress in the body. And one of the areas that it compromises is the methylation cycle. So all of these cycles biochemically are linked to one another, but the methylation cycle can become greatly compromised, particularly right here, the connecting point between the methylation and the folate cycle, by acetaldehyde. So we often see methylation folate cycle imbalances being directly impacted by fungal overgrowth. And this is a slide I've used in many of my lectures over the years, looking at the importance of methylation in autism, because it helps with awareness and language and eye contact. But it's also fundamentally important in the immune system, in nervous system balance and detoxification. So when we have methylation imbalances, we're going to get imbalances in these different areas. There is no magic bullet remedy that's going to solve all of the imbalances. It is a comprehensive approach when we're looking at something biomedical. It is understanding the complex nature of the individual, their underlying biological imbalances, and the biochemistry that needs to be supported. We can't just take a supplement and think it's going to fix methylation, or that one diet is going to be, the cure-all for everything. So everybody is different. Every child is different in how they'll respond, but they all can be helped regardless of age and condition. Some will lose their diagnosis and have. Others may remain with their diagnosis, but they're improved in their overall health and their abilities and their functionality. And with that is the nature of really anything in medicine, but particularly very true in the world of biomedical intervention for autism. There is help and there is hope. And so it is certainly a condition that can be helped through these processes. And that's what's incredibly exciting, and an area that is always evolving with regards to the research and the information that's available. So the autismrecoverysystem.com website, as I mentioned, is a resource for parents and caregivers with loved ones on the autism spectrum. And so this is a place that you can join, post questions, access a lot of the information in there, as well as access the 6-module in-depth course called Autism Biomed Essentials. So for any questions, you can always email us at autismrecoverysystem@gmail.com. Again, I'm Dr. Kurt Woeller for Autism Recovery System. Thank you.